let's talk about Tribe and the tour a little bit. How important was it for you guys and the fans, I guess, to have the full lineup back for this tour and the album?
Well, I can't really speak for fans, but for me, it was a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
The four of us had been recording and writing the record, and we'd enlisted the help of a gentleman by the name of Mike Stone, who was a guitar player, writer, who had been writing songs with us, and we were planning on going on the road with him this summer. And out of the blue, we get a call from Chris, who I hadn't talked to in probably about 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "God, I hear you're in the studio. What's it like?" So I was trying to describe the music to him and kind of he really liked the idea, and he said, I've got a couple of song ideas that are just burning a hole in my head, and I don't really have a vehicle to my system right now. I was kind of wondering, if I played this stuff for you, maybe it'd work on the record. And I was stunned. I didn't really know how to take that, because we hadn't really talked about doing a project seriously, in a long, long time. So I called the other guys in the band, and they were all into it. So he came down the next day to the studio, and within a few days, we had three musical ideas that he brought in. We'd worked those into songs, and I'd written lyrics and melodies to them. And then he ended up contributing guitar parts on a couple other songs on the record as well. So it was a real surprise.
Okay.
And really kind of fun, all sitting there again,
Sure.
And almost kind of being an observer again, or at least experiencing it. I sort of found myself experiencing the whole situation as kind of an outside observer, because it was different than it used to be, because our roles and our dynamic had changed, and because we all change as people, and he'd been so far removed from the four of us for so long. It was really challenging, I think, to sort of get together again, because you have all this sort of like stuff out of years and years of stuff that you do and habits you get into, and we found ourselves trying to kind of go back to the way it used to be, and it couldn't. It just wasn't there like it used to be.
Sure.
It's different now, and that's cool too.
Yeah.
So anyway, I guess to make a short answer, it was a surprise to work with him again, and it was an enjoyable surprise. I think we all had a really good time making the record.
Yeah, it's amazing to hear that, because I don't know which songs he contributed, but it seemed like, for somebody to come in when the album's already been conceived basically and fit in that well, that's fantastic. It worked out that well.
Yeah, it worked out really great.
Yeah. Is it correct that the general theme surrounding Tribe was based around what happened on 9/11 a couple years ago, and how we've changed as a society? Is that a general assessment of what Tribe was based around?
Well, I would say the 9/11 tragedy was a starting point for the record.
Okay.
It over the last couple of years, we've just been getting so inundated and spoon-fed fear in our country. We're afraid of everything now, and it really started to get to me. I wanted to get out and see the country and not take the media's point of view on what America was doing or what America felt like. I wanted to find out from my own peace of mind what was going on. So my wife and I took off on a trip around the country, and we spent a lot of time in small towns. We spent time in the wilder places, and just really tried to gauge for myself what was happening. And on my trip, I took made a travel journal, and kept notes, and those notes ended up becoming the lyrics for the record.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's really sort of a journey to find America, for me, from my standpoint of what it means to be an American in the millennium. How do I feel about being in America? And what is it? What is America? Most of us, don't really get outside of our city much, or our state, and I think it's a good thing to travel around the country and not just go to the malls or the state parks, in holiday time, or go to Disneyland, but go to another town, go see what's out there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it started me thinking about a lot of things, and that ended up becoming I guess, the inspiration for the album.
Sure. So what are some of your general conclusions of our? Are we doing the right thing in Iraq? I mean, did you make some hardcore opinions about what's going on in the world right now?
I don't consider myself a political person.
Uh-huh.
I'm very interested in social evolution and anthropology, the development of the human being and where we've been and where we're at and where we're going is fascinating stuff for me. The study of the human condition, and I'm just not an advocate of any kind of violence or war.
Mm-hmm.
It just does not work in my book. And there's a zillion facts you could quote and situations you can quote from, and we don't learn through violence. It doesn't settle things, and it doesn't work. And I feel that in the big world picture of things, that as a country, we've really damaged our reputation worldwide by our aggression in Iraq, and especially with the UN. We as a country, as well as other countries in the world, have spent millions and millions of dollars and tons of time and energy focused on making the UN an important fixture in world events. It's a representative body that helps govern world situations. Well, we completely deflated the balloon of the UN by going against world opinion, and attacking Iraq. And, it's not the right thing to do, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see the reasons why people think it's important to do it. I just don't agree.
Sure.
There's nothing anybody's said so far that makes any sense to me why we're even there. And the way things are handled these days, I think sort of my biggest beef is just the fear-mongering. The government pushes the media, and the media pushes the government's message, and that message is be afraid. Because when people are afraid, they react. And we're very reactive right now.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a good idea to take a time out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Take a deep breath and assess the situation.
I kind of look at society as a whole having a problem with generally thinking for themselves, whether it be in the music industry or politics or on TV.
And taking responsibility for their actions.
Yeah.
It seems to be a problem in America these days.
Yeah. That's a big problem. Yeah. It's
like I was reading USA Today. Should parents be responsible for paying the court costs and the record industry suing their parents, for downloading the music, off the internet and stuff?
Uh-huh.
Well, yeah, they should, because they should be teaching their kids not to do that.
Yes, yeah.
If my kids stole music off the internet, I'd make an example out of her.
Sure.
I would. I mean, I have to do that. That's
Mm-hmm.
piracy. It's illegal. It's no different than going down to the grocery store and loading up your cart with groceries and walking out.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, you kind of answered my question here, but and we're getting off the subject a little bit, but since we brought it up, do you believe that's...
I just have way too much caffeine today.
Me too. I'm on my fifth cup of coffee, too, so...
My mouth can't keep up with my brain.
I know the feeling. Back to the piracy thing, too. We've heard a lot of the record industry being in a lot of serious trouble. Do you think it's... a lot of it is due to the piracy, or do you believe it's other things, or what's your opinion on that?
Well, I think the state of the record industry is a compounded problem.
Mm-hmm.
A number of different instances are contributing to the low numbers, low sales, and all that. But the piracy is definitely one of those things that's contributing.
Okay. I've thought a lot of it's just a lot of bad records being put out too. But that's just me.
I think you're right about that. And, if I can kind of expand on that idea, I think bad, of course, is all subjective.
Yeah.
But I think there is a tendency toward the record industry has taken on a completely different business model than what they used to have, and that is they are really going for the standard business model and trying to apply that to art and self-expression. And what happens is they're trying to standardize stuff so much, standardize music. There's a zillion different a zillion bands that all sound the same. They're all using the same format, same delivery mechanism, in what they do. And that standardization is killing the industry because it takes the specialness out of music.
We were having an interesting conversation here at the station when we heard you guys were coming about how to what a categorization for Queensryche, and we all had a different idea about what you guys were.
Yeah.
And are you guys happy with the position you're in right now? I mean, some people might call you an 80s band. I don't. I think you fit into a million different categories. Are you guys kind of happy where you're sitting right now?
Well, I think that's one of the contributors to the band's longevity is the fact that we're very difficult to pigeonhole, and to describe, because we sort of have this chameleon-like signature,
Yeah.
And I think that helps because we're sort of a finger in the face to standardization. Although I guess if you want to put us in a box, we're a rock band,
Sure.
But we really experiment a lot with our music. Sometimes we've been experimenting with more of a metal sort of sound. Other times it's been more of a a classic rock kind of sound. We deal with themes and concepts, and we like that kind of stuff. And we change and we play around. We write pop songs. Sometimes we write real difficult things for people to latch onto that are more, I guess, would be considered progressive music.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys get tired of this, but I guess I kind of do. Looking back at Operation Mindcrime, is it kind of a curse sometimes having an album that did so well? I hear so many people still, comparing anything you do now to Operation Mindcrime. I mean, is that a curse sometimes having an album like that? I mean, I know that sounds kind of...
Well, I think, I guess it depends on how you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
That was a record that is very important to me, and it meant a lot to a lot of people, and I'm really happy about that. And I feel lucky and blessed that I was in the right spot at the right time, and it all happened the way it did.
Sure.
And, so I don't know. I hear a lot from people, that Empire and Promised Land are, two of their favorite records. But then again, that's when, EMI was pumping, millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars into promoting the band. And, it got shoved down people's throats, and, people do buy what they're sold in the country, So who's to say that, if, Q2K or Here and Now Frontier got as much attention as one of those records, that it wouldn't have been as popular, as sold as many units. You just never know.
Yeah.
And so I tend to not really pay too much attention to that kind of stuff, what people say about it. We write records for us,
mm-hmm.
and then we share them with the world, and then how people take it, what they feel about it, that's their own trip, and that's cool.
Sure. If you stopped writing music, if you guys just called it a career right now, would you be satisfied with your legacy, or do you think you're just reaching it?
That's a tough one. Well, I'm just a really musical person. I'm constantly coming up with stuff, and I love music. I'm a musician, and
sure.
So I can't ever think about stopping. I don't really think about it in those terms.
Uh-huh.
I'm very proud of what we've done as a band. I think, for 5 guys that got together out of high school and, didn't really know what they were doing and didn't have a model to follow or anything, I think we did pretty well for ourselves, And we managed to hang the band together for, 22 some odd years, and only missing one member, and made a lot of music, traveled the world, and it's a very successful career,
mm-hmm.
And if you put that in measurement to sales units to other bands or other artists, well, no, it's not, the biggest thing since sliced bread, but I'm very proud of what we've done.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd do it all again, just the same way.
I think I can kind of give a little insight on your influence. I mean, I'm just amazed at how often you guys pop up as an influence of all styles of bands, I know this new band that's out, Ra, R-A is the name of them. The lead singer had mentioned you were one of his main influences, and so I think your influences just go beyond so far, and in Europe especially, you know, that's going to live forever. I mean, it's, you know, what you guys have accomplished. So,
well, that's one of the beautiful things about music is, you know, there is no unique music. It's all uniquely derivative, and we all take and from each other. We're all inspired by each other, and that's the legacy of music, is that we all pull, you know, from each other's inspiration, and that helps us become inspired to do what we do, and what we do inspires somebody else, and, you know, it's all a big learning experience, you know. I love being part of that whole thing.